We're just staying at 32 frames that are being dropped. Cool. And let's just double check that we're up and running. Are we up and running? I'll also tweet it out. If we have somebody weird show up and kind of get in the way of everything, that's just the cat. Here we go. Now we're starting to get stuff to come up. Yay, lots of drop frames. I just need you. Control C. Tweeted. Ah, sorry, Ernie. You cannot eat the squirrels. Close that down. Let's see. I do believe somewhere in here we have... Just want to see. There we are. Ernie, you want to say hi to the camera? Hi! That is one of the cats. Sorry that was, I'm sure, very, very loud with cat being pressed up against a microphone. Huzzah! Alright, back to character creation. We are starting today with a dwarf. Now, humans, there's basically just one single type of human. Dwarves, in the base book, in the base player's handbook, there are two different types. We have our hill dwarves and our mountain dwarves. The ones that people generally think of most often is a mountain dwarf. That's your standard Tolkien-esque dwarf. Those are the ones that, are in Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and are always going on and on about their caves. So we have dwarf, and I'm just gonna pick one. Let's do a mountain dwarf. Mountain dwarves. So with humans, as you remember, we had a +1 in every single thing. Here, with dwarves, mountain dwarves get +2 in 2 things. Humans are basically the template for they can be anything. Really, any of them can be anything. I'm thinking this case kind of might be fun. Let's do a barbarian. Another simple melee-based class. And a mountain dwarf is really good for that. High constitution, high strength is what you're going to want for a barbarian. Now you could do like a dexterity-based barbarian, but you lose out on a bunch of the benefits. So we get the +2 to our constitution score that every dwarf gets. However, the +2 to strength is for the mountain dwarf. The hill dwarf increases their wisdom by 1. Let's see, what else we have? We have how old they can be, alignment, size, speed. Speed's one that we care about. I'm moving the book to the other side. It's easier for me to read this way. I'm going to blame it on being left-handed. Alright, so speed 25 feet compared to a human, a little bit slower. Doesn't make a huge deal unless you have battle maps, stuff like that. Again, sorry. The camera where I can see what's going on is off to my right. I'm going to try and look mainly at my main screen, but I kind of like looking at that because it feels like I'm interacting with something. Proficiency bonus is +2. We're creating 3rd level characters, so Barbarian 3. So we also have a few dwarven traits here. Dark vision. Dark vision is a really common one, which is basically if you're in a dark, really low light area that normally you couldn't make out details. Dwarves, elves, tieflings, gnomes, I believe. A lot of these races can see further away. They can just see better in the dark. Better night vision, basically. So that's the first thing. Next one is going to be Dwarven Resilience. So advantage on saving throws against poison and resistance against poison damage. Probably not going to come up in the game, but if they are fighting against a creature that does poison damage, like if they're fighting against a giant scorpion and gets smacked with its tail, that's going to be poison damage. Well, it doesn't necessarily keep them poisoned, and it's just being rough to them. They get a halve the damage, so our already fairly strong creature is going to do even better with that. And they have combat training as well. Scroll down here to our proficiencies and languages. Proficient with battle axe, hand axe, throwing hammer, and war hammer. 40k. Okay, not that. Wow, we have a lot of things. So humans don't get all that much. Again, that's because humans can basically be anything, so they don't get as many cool toys to play with. There's also the variant human, which I might do in a later video, basically where you can bump up 2 of your scores by 1, and then you get to get a feat. Feat is generally just something that's really nice, cool little thing. There's like a lucky feat that allows you to re-roll some ones, stuff like that. I'm wondering if I'm coming off around a little hot here. Let me check. What was that? Just have a squirrel attack the window behind me, I believe? Alright, I think this is going to be better sound-wise. I dropped it on the input. Yeah, there's a squirrel somewhere back here. Alright, anyways, ignoring the squirrels. So, they have a tool proficiency as well. So we have these weapon proficiencies. Tool proficiency in one of these. Let's see. Smith's tools, brewer's supplies, or mason's tools. We're going to go with brewer's supplies. Why? Because I homebrew. 2, it's just more interesting. I gotta adjust my glasses again. There we are. Then they also know 2 languages, Common and Dwarven. You'll see that basically every race knows Common. It's so that you can converse. It'd be a really annoying game if you couldn't do that. However, there have been times where I've played even in Dungeons and Dragons, where they won't initially speak Common, especially in the Feywilds. The elves there are going to speak Elven. They might know Common, but it's much rarer. On the continent where they're normally at, the characters can almost always speak to them because everybody speaks Common. Like, it's the trading language, basically. Alright, so we have that. We have our subrace. We get armor. We're not going to use this, as I'll demonstrate why later. Oh crap, it looks like we might be... And hey, we can see me, just a... Yeah. Oh yeah, we dropped some more frames. So let me close this out. And we should be good to go. Hopefully, I'll eventually get a better setup here, so I'm not as worried about it. So now we have our basic of our dwarves. So let's actually put in our scores then. Scores, 15. I'm actually going to put that in dexterity. Why? I could have a 17 strength or 17 constitution, which is really good. However, with a 17 strength, 17 constitution, sorry, I meant to do this earlier. Retweet. I don't know if that actually did it. Let's just hop into there. Sorry, I meant to retweet this out from my account. There we are. So I could put in one of the other two, but I have a 14 and a 13 as well. Basically what I'm saying is I can have two 15s and a 16, which is the equivalent of having... The 16 and the 17 aren't any different, and so I don't get any advantage for putting in something that's going to bump up the score. So then let's go here. We are going to have a 16 in our strength. Really strong. We're actually going to... I considered doing another 15 here in Constitution, but I like to think that this guy... Let's make him fairly charismatic. Lower intelligence. Barbarian makes sense. So now we have the 10 and the 12 left. So I'm going to actually put the 10 in here, because now it becomes a 12, and we also get a 12 in wisdom. So go through this, plus 3, plus 2, plus 1, which isn't great, but our guy is supposed to be like fast. Sorry, I'm just doing that as I saw it. Fast and strong. Like, he's maybe not the hardiest barbarian, but he's what you would consider a dwarven barbarian, where it's lots of murder, death. Underscore 2, -2 for intelligence. So again, remember, it is... Wait, is that right? Because a 9 is a -1. Oh, no, that's still a -1. -1 on intelligence, +1 on wisdom, and +1 on charisma. So, some solid numbers. +3 is very good to start out with. I could have really balanced it out and probably had 2+. I probably could have had probably up to... I could have had up to 4 +2s if I had wanted to. However, it makes sense to have something that you're really good at and then something that you're not so good at. So that gives us more of a balance. Hey, I think I found Barbarian. The Barbarian. So a Barbarian has, and we're not going to do the background first. I want to experiment with different ways. I've seen people on YouTube do this in different ways, and I don't remember which one I like best. That's honestly it. So I'm just going to go with going in order this time, in the book order, where it goes race, class, background. So we have rage. Rage basically, so I'll do rage. It gives us advantage on strength checks and saving throws. Gain +2 bonus damage on strength attacks when raging. I figure that people are going to generally know what this is, but I'm very, very fine teaching people how to play at a catacon, or if somebody is familiar with other systems, but I'm also going to try and lay it out pretty detailedly, just so that I can look at their character sheet and go, oh yeah, that's what that means, instead of having to pull out the book, look, and go. It's most of the time it's pretty straightforward if you've spent time reading the book. I've spent some time reading the book. I should spend more time reading the book, read through everything again, but we'll have to see when that happens. Alright, and finally, when raging, you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. When raging. And so you can rage basically as a bonus action. Bonus action, and they have, actually this is when I want this. Actually, I like that extra one in there, so I'm going to add one to the first one. Basically, you can rage up to 3 times in between, I believe it's a short rest, long rest. So it's not too bad. Not too bad. The next thing that a barbarian gets is unarmored defense. This is when you're not wearing any armor. Your armor class is equals 10 plus dex plus con. This is not going to be that huge a number for this guy. I could have, if I had taken that 15 or 14, excuse me, and put it down in Constitution and gotten a 16 there, we'd have had +5 and a 15 armor class. But now it's only 13, which is pretty low. However, it's kind of fun to play this guy. He's going to have a two-handed weapon. He's not going to be using a shield. I could use a shield, bump it up to 15, but having a battle axe and just running around swinging that seems like a lot of fun. And he's much less worried about getting hit than he is about hitting other people, so his armor isn't all that great. He has lighter stuff so that he can run around and do stuff. Alright, next, have so many things. Reckless attack. Gain advantage on an attack. Enemies Yeah, let's see. Attacks against you have advantage until your next turn. So reckless attack, I don't think I've explained advantage ever at this point. So advantage basically is the situation is favorable for you in some way, so you roll 2 dice and you take whatever is the higher one. This barbarian is all about kill, 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 so he's going to, like you would reckless attack, hope to hit. However, when you do that, you open yourself up for more attacks. A lot of people will play reckless attack where if it's against one big bad guy, they will attack. And then, sorry, I have an itch on my back of my neck. They'll attack. However, then the bad guy only gets a single attack back against them with advantage. If it's against a horde of goblins, imagine this guy attacking one goblin recklessly, and then the next turn, or until his next turn, all the goblins have advantage on him, and 4 of them attack him. Now he's basically screwed at this point. I realize I have skipped some stuff at the very beginning here. Alright, let's go back. Barbarian has a d12 for their hit die. And so it's fairly important to have hit points. d12 total has 3. And that doesn't take me where I want to go. 1d12. So for calculating hit points, you always start with the max number of hit points, so 12, plus your constitution modifier, so 1. So you get 13, and then each level after that, since I'm not rolling again, he gets 8 twice. So 16 plus 13 is 29. I would say that on typical rolling situation, I would expect it to be slightly higher, maybe 30, 31. But they give you a slightly higher than average number in the book. So really, I shouldn't say that. And the final 2 things we have to do for this, let's actually, some more stuff I missed. So we're just going to change this up. It's light, medium. So from the dwarf and the barbarian, he gets light and medium armor proficiency, shield proficiency, as well as all simple or martial weapons. Alright, and I should do this too. Strength and constitution are the saving throws. So this is already a dwarf that's going to be really good on constitution saving throws, since that's a lot of the time that's poison. But plus 5, plus 2, not bad. Plus 3. Really hope this is large enough to read. I think I might need to make it larger. I just have to figure out how to adjust the screen for setup for when I do that, because this is going to want to keep it centered, and then I'm going to have to become a really tiny off in the center, or you're going to potentially lose part of the page when I'm doing it. So -1, +1, and +1. Okay, and then finally, choose 2 from animal handling. Ugh. I can be proficient in 2 skills from the barbarian class: animal handling, athletics, intimidation, nature, perception, and survival. I'm gonna go with, I don't think nature makes a ton of sense. This is a mountain dwarf. Animal handling kind of falls into the same thing. Perception doesn't make a ton of sense to me either. I'm gonna go with survival and athletics. Let me see. Okay, that's not too bad. So I'm going to do that for my look right now. It should hopefully make it a little bit easier to read. So now back to the class features themselves. Over here, we're going to go with Danger Sense. Advantage on Dex saving throws against effects you can see. Yeah, can't be blinded, deafened, or... Oh, wait. That is... So basically, if you can see it, if you're blinded or deafened or incapacitated in some other form, you do not get your advantage on this. You end up still being... You're just a normal. Just a normie. But if you can still see anything that's dex based, like, you'll notice faster than anybody else. Alright, we have some equipment too that I should do. We can have a great axe or any martial melee weapon. I want a great axe. 2x hand axes. And 4 javelins. Now, for the 4 javelins, I could also get an explorer's pack. Why am I doing 4 javelins when explorer's pack has everything you'll want? This guy is all about bringing the pain, or this gal is all about bringing the pain. She might be a member of like some female warrior caste that in the Dwarven society, like, everybody really reveres and respects them, so it's not a big deal not to have stuff because people provide it, or they have enough confidence in their own skills that they are like, oh, well, I can go out hunting for food and find it. Next, so we have one last thing for the Barbarian, and at level 3 there's a few different paths, kind of like how the fighter could be a champion or an Eldritch Knight or something I'm blanking on. Battlemaster, there we are. The Barbarian has some paths as well. They can be a primal, follow the primal path, or the path of the Totem Warrior. Path of the Totem Warrior, basically the spirit animals. Think of that. I don't think that's necessarily what our guy is. The primal path that he's going to follow is that of the Berserker. Path of the Berserker. And with that, he gets a Frenzied Rage. I'm not going to do it in all caps as much as I want to. Frenzied Rage. Get an extra attack when in a Frenzied Rage. When rage ends, take 1 level of exhaustion. Thankfully, I don't need to put more there. Whew. So, exhaustion, 1 level of exhaustion, which is kind of the most I would expect a Berserker to have in a single 4-hour game. it's possible they would have more, but 1 level of exhaustion basically gives you disadvantage on any skill check. It's not really bad for you, it's just it's an inconvenience, and like you've worked yourself up into such a frenzy and used up so much energy that there's not much you can do. Sorry for the airplane noises in the background. So that is the Berserker, or the Barbarian class with the Path of the Berserker. Moving papers. And let's go to our backgrounds. I like the idea that this person was there's a whole bunch of different options here. Basically, I'm just picking backgrounds that people can kind of play around with some, because all I'm using it for is to get some proficiencies. This person was definitely not an acolyte. Charlatan. No, I don't think they were a charlatan. Doesn't make a ton of sense. Criminal. I don't want to necessarily have a chaotic evil character, or even a chaotic neutral character that might be doing criminal things for a good reason, or criminal things only against worse criminals. Entertainer doesn't make a ton of sense. Folk hero could work. Guild artisan, probably not. Hermit, probably not. Noble. Outlander, you grew up in the wilds, far from civilization and the comforts of a town and technology. You've witnessed the migrations of herds larger than forests, survived weather. I like that one fairly well, but let's see. Sage, no. Sailor, no. Soldier, we already have one. Urchin. Urchin, you grew up alone on the streets. I actually kind of like Urchin. It gives you the feeling that they're a little bit feral, potentially, where they haven't grown up in normal society, and like they might have even grown up as part of normal society, but in such a way that they were always at the side of society. With Urchin, we get advantage in sleight of hand and stealth. Oh yeah, I mean, this makes a ton of sense, like athletics and survival. If you're an urchin, you're living on your own as a kid, then she's kind of just picked up stuff from watching it, and the necessity to have her own brute strength be able to take care of stuff like this. So get proficiencies with Disguise, Kit, and Thieves' Tools. Plus we get some more stuff over here. Small knife. Map of the city you grew up in. Pet. Small creature. They say a mouse, but I'm gonna let a player decide if they want a mouse or not. I'll actually just give them a line here to write it on again. There we are. Token to remember parents by. A lot of these things aren't going to be all that important. Token to remember your parents by could be really important. Like it could be an easy story hook to be like, oh, somebody else recognizes the symbol or something about it. They're like, oh, your parents were these nobles that were killed. We thought the whole family had died. Now you have a really interesting story hook. Does the character want to become a noble again? Is that their ultimate goal, is to become a noble again? And they're going to have to like kind of change their barbarian ways? Or Is it something where that now puts them in danger? Maybe starts them running because of whoever did it might still be out looking for them. Common clothes. Belt pouch. So like the soldier had a money bag. This urchin has a belt pouch. And there are a few things that they get from it, so hopefully it will fit. City secrets. Oh, just one thing. You know the secret patterns and flow to cities and can find passages through the urban sprawl that others would miss. When not in combat, you and the companions you lead can travel between two locations in the city twice as fast as your speed would normally allow. City secrets. Travel twice as fast through cities when not in combat. That's kind of a cool feature. It's a little bit much. Let's see. Can I drop a line somewhere? I'm actually just going to get rid of that's weird. Please do not. Let me know that. There. Get rid of that one. Voila. We can see it now. Unarmored defense. They don't have any armor. They don't have an option right now except to be unarmored defense. So let's finish this guy off by filling in these numbers. So that's going to be a +5. That's a dex, so +4. +4. And +3. Now I could go through, and I don't remember for sure which way I did on the other. Oh yeah, I'm not proficient in this, so it's just an 11. Where I could go through and fill everything out. However, after every single one, it says like acrobatics, parenthesis, dex. So it's simple enough to just look at your dex modifier, since it's going to be the same since you're not proficient in it. My face looks really, really red right now because I have a red light in front of me, and we are, well, not a red light, but a standard normal indoor light, and then it's getting I forget what color it is. I think it's blue tinted light that you normally get outside, and it's cloudy outside too, so it's trying to white balance against something that isn't white. Probably should work on that sometime. Alright, anyways, let's just flip over to our weapons and get this taken care of. So we'll start with the Great Axe. Great Axe is a lot of fun. So ooh, wow. Huzzah. Let's zoom in again. Plus, double plus. Our attack bonus is going to be, since we're proficient with it, is going to be a +5. Solid attack bonus. Next is going to be the damage, 1d12 plus 3. And it is, I like just doing the single letter. So Great Axe is slashing damage. Great Axe has to be used two-handed. Hand Axe, I really like Hand Axe better as 2 words than 1, so I'm going to leave it. Okay. Yin is going to be a +5. And, oh, stupid thing. I'm just going to click. It's going to be better that way. 1d, I believe Hand Axe is 6 plus 3. Slashing. Oh man, you really hate me right now. Javelin. Javelins are actually not a finesse weapon. They're a throw-in weapon, but not finesse or light. So it's still going to be strength-based. +5, I believe. I will correct this if I'm wrong later. And that is still just 1d6 plus 3 piercing. Now I'm going to make my notes down here. Hand axe, throwing 20 to 60 feet. Javelin, throwing, I believe, 30 to 120 feet. Why do they have those lower numbers? I think it's just for, well, it's easier to hit somebody when they're closer up, but at the same time you really can't, you're probably not going to do that once somebody's within hand axe range. It's a whole lot better to run up to them and hit them with a great axe. So we'll go with that. Then app commands. Sweet baby Jesus. Save as. I'm saving these to the desktop, I believe. And I'm naming them so that I know what it is. So this is going to be a Barbarian Urchin. I care less about the race in the fact that it just... everybody's going to play a Barbarian Urchin a certain way, even though technically a Dwarven Barbarian Urchin would be different than an Elven Barbarian Urchin. But it's less about that in a game like this. So I just want to see, can I... Sweet, I can close. I just gotta get rid of some of these. Don't save. Please don't save. Champion fighter. Bye-bye. Close. Sweet. Alright. So I'm going to go back to the folder here and reopen this file. We're going to continue actually with another character right now. We're going to get in a twofer. One, I have time. Kristen isn't going to be home quite yet. So let's see how quickly we can go through something here. Let's do a elf of some sort. Elves, kind of like how all dwarves have +2 to Constitution, all elves have +2 to Dexterity. However, there are a couple different types of elves, but we'll fill in that information here shortly. First things first, speed is going to be 30 feet, proficiency +2, at least, for how early we are. We automatically, as an elf, gain proficiency in perception, which is a nice one to have. We have, again, dark vision of 60 feet. Fey Ancestry. You kind of know about Fey Ancestry if you've been listening to the Dungeons and Dragons podcast. That's been one of the bigger story arcs that we've done. I don't know when I dropped a whole bunch of frames, but sorry about that. I'm really not sure what the frame rate is that we're sending this out, so there might have just been me stuck still for a little bit. Hopefully you didn't miss anything too important. Advantage against being charmed, and can't be magically put to sleep. Trance. Need a 4-hour trance each night instead of sleep. probably not going to come up all that much. Languages. We have Common and Elven. And we have a couple different subraces. We have the High Elves, which are kind of the Elrond. So, yeah, when Frodo goes and meets the elves, those are going to be High Elves. When Bilbo and the dwarves get captured by the elves, I would say those are more Wood Elves type of thing. Elrond. Yeah. For some reason I'm just thinking Elrond Hubbard, so. And then we have Wood Elves. It's the other one. The big difference is just some of the proficiencies you get. And then there are Dark Elves. You know what? I'm going to go with the Drow. So they get superior dark vision. Basically, it doubles, 120 feet. Charisma gets a +1 to it. They make good casters in some areas. Still have trance ability. Still have Fey ancestry. Sunlight sensitivity. Disadvantage on attacks and perception checks that rely on sight. In direct sunlight. Drow live underground in the Underdark. They are very, very used to seeing in the dark, hence the 120 feet of dark vision. However, put them in sunlight, your eyes would be so stressed. So they have the sunlight sensitivity. So Drow magic can cast dancing lights, as a cantrip. So cantrips, we haven't touched on spell casting yet. Cantrips are basically a spell that you can cast over and over and over again. Dancing lights is 3 little orbs of light that last for a minute. So it's a good way to light an area for a party. I think you can send them off to up to 120 feet in any direction. So it's a good way to see what's going on. Once per day, can cast Fairy Fire. Fairy Fire is a spell. It outlines anything that's invisible if they fail on a roll. What I don't know in here, since with Fairy Fire, let me double check that I'm on the right spell, but I'm pretty sure I am. With Fairy Fire, there is a saving throw. Fairy Fire, dexterity saving throw. If we don't have a spellcasting ability, I'm not sure what it's supposed to go off of. Ooh, charisma. So it would be let's fill in some numbers quick here. I'm not sure what class I'm going to go with yet. Could go Paladin. Could go... I mean, Warlock makes a lot of sense. I have learned Warlock. Could do Rogue. Rogue makes a ton of sense. Or... Oh, let's look at some of the other options up here. Cleric, Bard, Barbarian. Alright, Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard. Let's actually do Monk for this. So with a Monk, as you would kind of expect, Dex. So we're going to, again, not put the highest number in here because it doesn't give us any advantage. We're going to put it down here in Charisma, though, because it gives us a 16 in both of those. That's pretty sweet. Strength, not all that worried about, 8. Constitution, I like to keep +1 there. 13, 12. Why not? +3. +1. +1. +1. Wait, one of those is supposed to be a 10. Wisdom's going to be a flat 0. Kind of like that. Like, doesn't help with our proficiency in perception, but that's okay. +3. So, monks. Monks, don't think about them as the religious order type. Sorry, airplane again. Don't think of them as the religious order type. Think of them more as the ninja type. The religious order type of monk is probably much more of a paladin or a cleric, really. So, with the ninja type of monk that we're gonna probably be building here, or nature type of monk, it's much more steeped in an Eastern tradition. Waiting half a second here, we are dropping rates like frames like crazy. Come on, Speed, you can do it. Should be solid, but it doesn't appear to be. Let me know what it looks like. Bot, I'm sure. We'll still get all this stuff figured out. Stream. But I'm still dropping like crazy, so I think now it's caught up a little bit, but I still seem to be missing frames pretty often here. There's some stupid. That's even being on the fun while we try and figure this out. It looks like I've stopped dropping frames right now, so let's get back to this. You can see that I'm the only person actually watching my stream. That's okay. So we're getting back to the monk. Monk has no armored proficiencies. Actually, let's do the hit points first, because that's what comes up first. 3. All of them are 3. 1d8. Monk 3. So we start out with 9, and then it's going to be 5 plus 1, so 15, 21. 21 hit points. Everybody's going to be kind of close. Once we get to the spellcasters, you're going to see some people that are way lower on this. Wow, we're coming through terribly again. Not sure what's going on with that. I am recording this to my computer. If it looks like it's dropping too many frames for the live stream, or hopefully it's picking those up for what's being saved, then I'm going to upload that one instead. Alright, we have advantage, or not advantage, proficiency with simple weapons and short swords. One artisan's tool or musical instrument, calligraphy set. We're proficient with it. And strength and dex. That's actually kind of nice. It gives us a +1 strength, a +5 in dex, and then +1, +1, +1, 0, and +3. Sorry, I keep on looking. I can see it dropping frames. There's a counter up there that went up to 8,500, so we lost a lot somewhere. And then 8,600. It's going to go up some more. Probably have to clean some dead weight off of this computer. Yeah, something's going on in the background for this. We are going to say that acrobatics makes a lot of sense for proficiency. Oh wow, that's really high. Okay, and I'm gonna say religion. I just went on saying that how this isn't a religious type of monk, but it kind of is. And so for that reason, we're just gonna leave it like that. It keeps on refreshing these, that's weird. So we're going to get our gear, short sword, 10 darts, and explorer's pack. Explorer's pack is going to be the really common one to have. They could have also had a Dungeoneer's pack, which, if I was building this character to play in a longer campaign, I would go with a Dungeoneer's pack. Why? It's not as useful. However, it allows for an interesting story in, like, why do I have that versus the more common one for a road? What have I been up to before? So, kind of like Barbarian, the monk has unarmored defense. So theirs, instead of being dexterity and constitution, is dexterity and wisdom, which gives us only a 13. That ain't bad. But it's kind of like the barbarian, where the barbarian doesn't care if they're hit by somebody. The monk is trying to avoid being hit by somebody by being nimble. Ooh, we can fill this out now. That's what I forgot to do. So, it is charisma based. So it's 10 plus your charisma plus your proficiency of 15. So they get a speed bump, 40 feet. I'm not going to write down any notes for that. I'm actually going to hop ahead a page here. Additional features and traits. They get key points. And they get, currently they would have 3, I believe. I don't think it goes up. Do the same thing again here. Wrong one. Control plus plus plus. There we go. Now you can see it a little bit better. They have a key saving throw. Eight plus proficiency plus wisdom. Their wisdom is 0, so 10. Fury of blows. Spend a key point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. That is Fury of Blows. I'm kind of tempted to leave it, but I'm not going to. Patient Defense. You spend 1 key point to take the dodge action as a bonus action on your turn. Dodge basically allows you to impose disadvantage, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'll probably find out. Step of the Wind. You can spend 1 key point to disengage or dash as a bonus action. Yeah, that's kind of nice. It means that if you disengage as bonus action from spending the key point, then you're not getting an attack of opportunity if you're leaving the area of some guy you're fighting. And if you dash, you can basically, it allows you to double your movement. So we have our key points back here. I put them on this page just because I might much on this first page. So back to the first page. Let's zoom back in. Zoom, damn you, zoom. We've dropped so many frames. Hopefully this doesn't suck too bad. Martial art. Martial. 3rd time's the charm. 4th time's the charm. Arts. At first level, it basically gives you the ability to, if you're not using heavy or two-handed weapon, and it's one of them that you're proficient in, a simple weapon or short sword, you can do an unarmed punch. That is going to be use dex instead of martial arts. Let's do this how I normally do. Use dex instead of strength on attacks. Again, this is kind of that more Eastern tradition type of feel where it's almost like karate type thing. Roll 1d4 for damage. Can use as bonus. Use gain bonus attack when attacking. When attack action uses unarmed attack or monk weapon. So, airplane again. So monk weapon basically is anything that we're proficient at from being a monk. If we multi-classed, I would specify simple weapons or short swords for that, but this is 3 levels of monk, so don't need to do that. We have at 3rd level deflect missiles. As a reaction, you can roll 1d10 plus dex to reduce damage from thrown from Missiles. Missiles. Not missiles. Missiles. If reduced to 0, you can spend one key point and make a ranged attack with missile. I'm actually going to take this real fast, cut it. Ties into key points, so you saw what it said before. I'm not going to zoom in. Back again. Zoom, zoom, zoom. There we are. Because now we have our 3rd level, we get to choose our monastic tradition. We have the way of the open hand, which is basically a martial art technique. We have the way of the elements and the way of the shadow. Let's see. That is really confusing. So we're not going to do away with the elements. I'm going to have to read that up a little bit more on that so that I fully understand it. We are going to do the way of the open hand, which is the ultimate masters of martial art combat, whether armed or unarmed. Which reminds me, we probably had gear. Oh, I did give us our gear. Starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can manipulate your enemy's ki when you harness your own. Whenever you hit a creature with one of the attacks granted by flurry of blows. That's why I had that extra L in there. We're gonna call it. We'll change it so that it's correct. Be bad to have the wrong thing down there. Make them think that I accidentally created something new. Vultry, flurry of blows. Let's zoom back in. Actually, let's go back to this page again. We're going to add it down here. We could add it on the other page, but it spends ki, or it's based off of ki. So open hand technique. Let's do this. When using flurry of blows and you hit, you can spend a Oh, I think we had a Windows update that was running in the background. I'm really sorry about that. Stupid Windows updates. I need to set that so that I'm in control of them. Can spend a key point for one of the effects. Succeed on Dex saving throw or be knocked prone. Let me double check. So the key saving throw is actually going to be 12 because our wisdom gives us 0. However, it's 10 plus. No, it's 8 plus. Never mind. I was right the first time. Don't listen to me. Make a strength saving throw or be pushed up to 15 feet. Really get if there are pits around. And finally, no saving throw. Can't take reaction until end of your next turn. That's really powerful, actually. Especially if it was a creature, like if there was one like Goblin Chieftain, you do that, people can run in and out of his range, not having to worry about attacks of opportunity. I like that. So that is our monk. No, that is not our monk. We still have our background. I like this. This is fun, I think. Our monk originally was, yeah, you can see it, an entertainer, like a tumbler, juggler, something like that. Hey, they even had, oh, let's do a dancer. They were originally a dancer. I'm dancing. Sorry, it makes no sense unless you've played Borderlands 1, 2, or 3. I'm not sure which one he does that in. Well, 1, 2, or pre-sequel. So with this, again, we get some things. We get the feature of popular demand. You can always find a place to perform. You get food and lodging at those places. So a bard would generally take entertainer. That'd be really common for a bard because it allows them, they don't really have to think about the meals ever as an entertainer. We get a couple more proficiencies, acrobatics, which we already have. So we don't get double proficiency or something cool like that, but allows us to take another proficiency elsewhere from the monk list. So we have insight or athletics, history, religion, or stealth. I kind of like the idea of history. This is a fairly well learned and honed entertainment skills, I feel like, that we get from this character. And then the other one we get is performance. So let's fill in some numbers here. That's big. +5. Intelligence +3. Perception is a +2. Performance +5. Thank you. Charisma. And religion is +3. So we kind of have a almost probably something like a religious performer where they're going around and they're performing maybe something based on the religion that they know, or like the religious history of the area could very well be what they're doing through some form of interpretive dance. We do get some more proficiencies. So to go along with our calligraphy set, we have disguise, kit, and a musical instrument. I'm going to go with lute. Actually, no, let's go with harp. Like, it's a hand harp. They can sit and play that, but really they're more about the dancing. Ideally, someone else in their traveling group would play the harp for them and they would dance. But we're going to have a harp that they get. Sorry. Favor from an admirer. And they're probably going to have lots of them as a dancer. As a performer, people are going to love them for that reason. And costume. A belt pouch. In that belt pouch, I think I'm putting stuff in the wrong spot, but 15 gold pieces. I'm going to have to go back and correct it on some of the other ones. But anyways, that is our monk. And yeah, there's definitely a Windows update or something running in the background, so my apologies for that. Let me save this one and I will sign off for the day. So here we have a monk entertainer. Ooh, I would love to actually do a double background for this. A monk, entertainer, criminal. They use their entertainment abilities to get into places, and then and they're probably part of a well-known troupe. So they get into all sorts of places, but they're paid then by other people to off bad guys or to steal precious artifacts. That would actually be a really cool campaign idea. To have like a monk entertainer, maybe a rogue entertainer, a bard of some sort, and maybe even a rogue thief, or a what else? Because it'd be fun to have some other type, maybe like a sorcerer thief criminal, because like they can do they kind of add the big pow to the show. Yeah, that is actually a really cool idea. Feel free to steal it, use it as much as you want. Alright, and with that, thank you all for watching. Check out stuff that we are putting up on Nerdologists.com. I will eventually get these videos put up for more than just a live stream. Hopefully this doesn't suck too bad. With that, I will see you tomorrow. I'm hoping to do a couple more characters.